and Dr. Muhammad Ansar Sid. Hello.
Sir, please wait. We are going live in 10 minutes. Our event time is 4 p.m. Pakistan time. So please wait.
Okay, what about the certificates?
You can email me at sark.pk@gmail.com.
Please.
I will mention it on our website, so you can contact me over there.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. Hello. यार मेरी आवाज नहीं आ रही इसमें.
Hello, we'll be going live in 5 minutes.
हेलो दोस्तों.
हेलो.
Hello, Mr. Faisal. Do you have any query? You just raise your hand.
हेलो सिद्धार्थ. कहाँ गया दूसरा? हेलो सिद्धार्थ. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Mute. Hello.
Yes, you're audible. We'll go shortly.
Now I am connected
Yes, sir.
from Sayyid Abbas. Good afternoon from Pakistan.
Okay, welcome everybody to this webinar, international webinar on Locust Invasion. I'm Abhishek Khanka, Program Officer for WIPAD Asia Pacific and Country Representative for WIPAD Nepal. WIPAD is talking briefly about WIPAD. It's a loose network. It's over 80 countries and over 22,000 members registered globally. And today is a special day. We are doing a webinar on Locust Invasion. So learnings which could be very much useful for other countries also, just like Nepal and as well as other countries. Without any delays, I'd like to share the presentation. There is a ground rule for presentations. Let me go quickly. Just like every presentation time for each speaker is 10 minutes. After the presentation, the Q&A will help participants to discuss with the speaker. But due to the time limitations, we are taking only maximum 2 or 3 questions. We're very sorry for that. But still, if you have any query, you can email to us, or you can just drop in the question in the chat box so that we can compile and send to the individual speaker after the completion of program also. I would also like to request
हम तो अभी उस पर
sorry.
उसके बंदे की बात सुन रहा हूँ मैं.
Okay.
अच्छा. Okay.
Okay, sorry. I was about to say this. Please, I'd like to request to mute your microphone if you are not using it, because we want to avoid unnecessary noises during the presentation. And I'd also like to request to ensure the good connectivity of internet before the internet. Just like I hope it's going fine, except some noises over there. And I'd like to request all participants to stay focused on the presentation. The presentation is being shared in Facebook Live in most of the Asia Pacific group as well as country chapter groups. So far we have 80 participants in this room till now, and it's increasing slowly. And more than 40 viewers are watching online in Facebook currently. Okay, that was the brief.
Hello, everybody is online? Yes. Okay.
Okay. Shala, do you like to add anything if I missed anything?
Now we have to start our event.
Okay. And
hello, welcome you all. Welcome you all to our international event, international webinar on Locust Invasion. This webinar is jointly organizing by WIPAD Pakistan, Eco Science Foundation, and our co-organizing organizations, Pakistan Agriculture Research Council, WIPAD Nepal and WIPAD Asia and Pacific, Pakistan Plant Protection Department, and BIPAM. I would like to welcome to our distinguished guest speaker, Professor Dr. Mansoor Hussain Somro, and other speakers. I will welcome to all speakers to introduce yourself, please. And I would like to request to all participants, please follow strictly the rules mentioned above. The rules of this webinar will make it successful. Thank you so much. Over to our event moderator, Alpha Sanan. Alpha, are you there?
Yes. Hi,
Yes.
everyone. Good day, good evening, good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Greetings to everyone. I am Alpha Senan. I'll be assisting today session with the moderation. It will be my duty to introduce our speakers and remind the speakers as well about their 10-minute slot. And then it does leave room for 2 to 3 questions after every presentation. And you could raise your hand, and myself or one of the other organizers could identify the person who's raising their hand to ask their question. Right? So we want to first welcome our first distinguished chief guest speaker to share with us, Professor Dr. Manzoor Hussain Sumru, the president of the Eco Science Foundation. All over to you, Professor. And you can kindly unmute your mic when it's time for you to speak, and mute when you're not speaking. Thank you. Professor, are you there? Professor Manzoor, can you unmute your mic, please? Can the host unmute him, please?
He's on mute now.
Hello. Can you hear
Thank
me?
you. Can you raise your volume? It's a bit soft, it's a bit low.
Is it?
Yeah, it's better now. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, all colleagues, YPAD, and this is our first activity that we join hands with young professionals in agriculture, and I hope that this cooperation will continue. Let me organization, Science Foundation, is an intergovernmental organization of 10 countries, and they are alphabetically Afghanistan, Azerbaijan, Iran, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Pakistan, Tajikistan, Turkey, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. And Issue Science Foundation is mandated to promote and fund collaborative scientific technological research and policy, as well as innovation and science education across the board in our member countries, with the youth engagement in focus. Well, I think all of you know what the locusts are, and locusts have been in very old records and oldest migratory pests that have wreaked havoc across the globe for centuries. And as you know, each one eats, food to its weight per day. But if the swarm of 1 square kilometer is there, it is the potential to eat the amount of crop that otherwise 35,000 people could depend on. So the numbers of locusts are not contained. The impact on crops and vegetation will drive up hunger in regions that are already struggling with high levels of food insecurity. And the desert locust invasion can lead to considerable drop in agriculture and food production. It can deplete food stocks and create significant risk for population food security. And this has been highlighted in Pakistan's very credible national daily, The Dawn. Yesterday, there was an editorial in Dawn which spoke about the problems and the difficulties that has um, um, attacked currently Pakistan, but since the mission is an intergovernmental organization, another country that is our member, Iran, and Pakistan are together in this difficulty. And according to FAO report, the Iran and Pakistan, which are two main members of Issue Science Foundation, have been prone to menace as locust breeding has taken place lately in these two countries, probably due to climate reasons or some other management issues, but technical experts participating in the webinar can dwell more upon this aspect. However, I wish to share some quick facts with the audiences that in Pakistan, over 3 million people are already in acute food shortage. The Islamic Republic of Iran has long been facing American economic sanctions, which have led to numerous
Professor
crises.
Mansur, could you stick up in one
But the
sec?
current manifestations could impact the food security
could everyone else
of
mute
more
their
than
mics?
one third of the population, as the affected provinces are primarily breadbasket of the country, where the situation is of particular concern given the multiple risk of country which is already facing different calamities, including the heavy impact of COVID-19, the coronavirus pandemic. And 1 million hectares of land has been targeted for locust control in Iran and Pakistan altogether. 10 million hectares land is targeted for surveillance in both countries. Uh, uh, but as I said, uh, details about Pakistan will be shared by other colleagues. So I want to go with the information about Iran, which is experiencing worst desert locust outbreak in 50 years. Although for Pakistan, they say it's 27 years after 1993. But Iran reports that it's been 50 years and now they have this attack. And the second year in a row, desert locust upsurge is threatening food security, nutrition and livelihoods, as well as the environmental and economic development in the country. The locust swarms that invaded the country late February 2020 spread rapidly and laid eggs along 900 kilometers of country's southwest coast. These eggs have hatched and formed hopper bands, which developed into young adults before forming highly mobile and voracious immature swarms. Meanwhile, a second generation of breeding recently commenced along the east Hormozgan coast near the Strait of Hormuz, where an increasing number of hopper bands continues to form along the southeast coast and interior. The widespread rains that fell in March and April will allow new swarms to form during May that could be a substantial scale. And Iran's response has been reasonable considering their limitations. And during April, 939 locations were surveyed with the desert locusts and found at desert locusts were found at 640, and control operations were carried out at 379 locations. As for May, as of May 2020, their Ministry of Agriculture and Plant Protection Organization has treated more than 150,000 hectares. And the latest estimates show that in order to successfully control infestations during the year, up to 1 million hectares of rangeland, farmland, and orchards might require treatment by the end of June. In Pakistan, there are reports, and even in today's dawn, there are estimates about some experts that if 75% of the crop is damaged, then it could lead to $8+ billion damages, and if it is 25% loss, then around $2.6 billion will be the loss. In any case, this local invasion in Pakistan and Iran is really a threat to food security in the region, and need a lot of attention. However, I don't want to dwell too much on the situation in Pakistan, as other speakers will speak about this aspect. So I don't want to also go into the details, but together with the COVID-19 problems, this is really playing havoc, and it may also be true that because of COVID-19, the locust issue was not addressed as much, and we are now faced with the difficulty that not, I mean, the swarms that come from Africa, which are expected later during June, have not arrived, but the local production and the breeding of locusts that appeared last year in Pakistan are really causing the problem that is ongoing. So in other words, I think Pakistan's both issues of COVID-19 as well as the locusts, the local cases which have been but regarding response, I think the government has. However, I want to leave some questions for the experts, speakers, as to how is the size of swarms measured. And this is, I want to put this question intentionally for the benefit of listeners who are not experts. So how is the size of present in Pakistan today, and what size is expected in July from Africa? Number 3, what protective measures are being taken by the government of Pakistan? What should the farmers do about the menace? And as a believer, I thought any creation of Almighty God must have a purpose in the ecosystem. So are there any benefits of locusts? I know, I mean, as a young child in rural area, we, when we had this way back in the 60s, we used to collect and actually use for eating. The reports are that around 70% of its body is proteins, and also some other minerals. So the last question I want to leave is there any benefits of locals in the ecosystem so that we can use them for the good of the people rather than only, you know, they damaging the crops. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Hello?
much, Professor. Yeah, thank you very much, Professor. Your presentation was well received, and you know, definitely left us with some interesting questions. And I guess I will take a quick minute to see if anyone may want to answer any of his questions. I'm particularly intrigued by asking what else, what are the benefits of locust? What can we do with it? And how can we make it part of, well, it's already part of our ecosystem, but how can we make it a beneficial part of our ecosystem? So anyone want to dive into that with an answer? Or we could save it for later on, or maybe one of the presentation, maybe one of the other speakers might have some answers to that as well, right? So without further ado, Let me now introduce Mr. David Hunter.
I want to answer the question.
All right. Let's
Yeah, we can use the locust for the human being. If we collect the locust, like we need to develop some kind of you can say the suckers or the vacuum pressure machines which can collect the hoppers in a basket, and later on we can use it for the poultry feed, animal feed, or the fish feed, because it has 65% of the protein in it, and it's a better source of protein for the animals, fish, and the poultry as well. But human being can also eat this. It needs to work on it.
Okay,
I think
thank
if
you
we
very
go into discussion, moderator, we go into discussion, this will take long time. But I think it is better that we have the speakers keeping these questions in mind as we go along, and towards the end, then we can actually have a little bit more discussion on that. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with that, Professor Mansour. I agree. So let me now introduce David Hunter joining us from Australia. And I will allow you to introduce yourself, please, Mr. Hunter. So take 10 minutes time, and we look forward to your presentation. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Can everyone hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, sir.
Well,
And just a quick reminder, everyone else kindly mute your mics, so we won't allow any disruption during Mr. Hunter's presentation. Everyone else kindly mute your mics. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Hunter.
okay, thank you very much. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is David Hunter. I'm president of the Orthoptera Society, which is an organization that works on Orthoptera all over the world. And personally, I have been involved in locust work in many countries, from, of course, Australia, China, Argentina, Mexico, Central Asia, and Africa. And what I really want to talk about today is sort of a management system for the desert locust, or for any locust, really. And the system that is used in most parts of the world is preventive management. Now, preventive management is particularly important now that we have a major upsurge of locusts in Pakistan, and from Pakistan all the way into Eastern Africa. Now, this upsurge began with heavy rains from 2 cyclones in the middle and late of 2018. And this gave widespread rain to some of the desert areas, particularly in Saudi Arabia and neighboring countries. And as a result, populations have increased quite dramatically. Now, the current strategy for controlling desert locusts, as I said, is preventive management. Now, the primary aim of preventive management is to limit crop damage. Now, adult swarms can cause damage very quickly, stripping a crop within a day or two. So preventive management aims to treat as many locusts as possible before they reach crops as flying swarms. Now, am I still here talking? Something's going on. Someone's trying to log in here or something. Okay. All right, as long as you can still hear me. Now, preventive management has 2 aspects. The first is that earlier in the outbreak, that is last year really, you start treatments early on a very large scale before the locusts reach very high numbers. Now, sometimes preventive management is able to prevent a plague, but that's not the main aim. The main aim with something like the desert locust that is so widespread, often in countries that are not really able to do the early control. The aim is to reduce the size of the upsurge and limit crop damage. Now, early intervention, before the numbers were very high, was what happened really last year. There were many bands and swarms in some areas, but far fewer than there are now. And there were substantial treatment programs. For instance, Iran treated 250,000 hectares in June last year as part of trying to limit the size of this upsurge. But of course, as the rains have continued and good conditions have continued, the locusts have continued to increase. And there have been treatments from Pakistan to Eastern Africa at a moderately high level ever since last year. So currently we face a situation where there's a large upsurge with very many locusts. And now is the time for the second part of preventive management. There needs to be as much treatment as possible against the hopper bands before they can form the dense swarms of adults. Because adults, as I said before, can very quickly cause so much damage and just strip a crop within a few days. Of course, chemical pesticides are an important part of such treatments. But some people believe that because there are now so many locusts, we need to use chemicals only because you need a quick kill. But it has been found that relying on chemical pesticides alone means that some infestations cannot be treated. That's because chemicals should not be applied in places like national parks or in reserves or near waterways. And near waterways, even when there's not water there, because rain can fall soon afterwards, an area that is treated near a dry riverbed. And locusts are often found in times when there's much more rain. So there's a very great danger that if you spray chemicals along waterways, even if they're dry, that chemical will be washed downstream from later rain. Now, both in Australia and in China, biopesticides form an important part of locust management. And they allow locusts to be controlled wherever they are found. That includes near waterways, national parks, or wherever you don't want to be using chemical pesticides. The common biopesticides used include a naturally occurring fungus, Metarhizium, and a mycosporidium called Paranosema. Now, both of these take 10 to 14 days and sometimes a little bit longer to work. But this delay in mortality is not a problem if the locusts are treated early as hopper bands away from the cropping areas. You see, even though a lot of chemicals are used, outside cropping areas, the slower acting biopesticides can form an important part of preventive management. If they're used against hoppers, before they get to the damaging adult stage. You see, when locust numbers are high, there's a great deal of pressure to treat the locusts wherever they are found. And if you rely on chemical pesticides alone, that means some treatments occur too close to areas where chemicals can't be used. And the consequential environmental side effects have the potential to bring the whole treatment program into disrepute. So in the current locust upsurge, biopesticides have been used in parts of East Africa in recent months, which allows those locusts to be treated wherever they are. Now, a really important part of preventive management is finding the locusts early and finding them before they reach crops. It requires close monitoring of locust populations, and that's really important. And this can be aided by accurate forecasting based on computer modeling of weather parameters and locust development. And the Food and Agricultural Organization in Rome does a lot of this. And when locusts are found, a strategy of preventive management requires that they are treated quickly wherever they found, either with chemicals or biological products appropriate to local conditions. So we are facing a very large upsurge, and we must do all the things possible to limit its increasing size. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. David Hunter. Really appreciate your presentation. I think I will go right into our next speaker, Mr. Ganesh Chandra, who's here with us from India, Green TV. I'll allow you to start your presentation now. And we are taking note of some of the questions popping in the chat. And we will allow for these questions to be answered as we, at the end of all the speakers has finished their task, right? So, Mr. Ganesh Chandra, could you please unmute and go ahead with speaking?
Thank you very much. And I will be using some slides, so sharing my screen.
Sure.
I will present the situation, what is happening in India. As we all know that locust is coming to this part of the South Asia from Horn of Africa, which consists of Ethiopia, Somalia, etc. And it travels through Yemen, Oman, Iran, then Afghanistan and Pakistan, and finally to India. And beyond this, till now, this invasion of locust has not been observed. As someone was asking, what is the possibility of invasion in Nepal? My friends from Nepal asked in the chat. So we will discuss this also. But about 30 million hectares, square kilometers, 30 million square kilometer, including nearly 64 countries, locust invasion is there. It's particularly for this region, which is affecting us. India particularly, there is a scheduled desert area, which is quite close to, rather bordering Pakistan. So this breeding place on both the sides are bordering border area of Pakistan and India. So the scheduled area of a desert where a lot of breeding also takes place and invasion also is the run, which is shown in the red here on this map. The total area, scheduled desert area, is about 2 million square kilometers. This is consisting of the state of Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Haryana in India. And most commonly, the reported locust is desert locust, and which is of wide occurrence. Locust warming system was established in India during the British era, and it was headquartered at Karachi. Afterwards, after partition, the locust warning organization for India started operating from Jodhpur, particularly for the field headquarters. And this is otherwise the central headquarters is Faridabad near Delhi. And we have field offices in Rajasthan and Gujarat, 10 field offices. But now what we see, the spread has gone too high. So the locust warning organization, their job is to have constant visual throughout the field, through field surveys. And then also the Indo-Pak border meetings are there for exchange of locust situation. This also advise state functionaries, the BSF, Border Security Force, Defense Force, local government institution about the locust activity in their areas and the forecasting and warning. Also, they suggest how to avoid upsurge of locust population. There's also a program of training farmers and state functionaries and other staff. Then issuance of desert locust situation bulletin, that is also published by them on a fortnightly basis. And some research work is also done at its FSIL, Field Station for Investigation on Locust, which is located at Bikaner. And they are particularly doing research on seeing the efficacy of pesticides and biopesticides. So bioefficacy of pesticides and biopesticides for locust control. These are some of the major activities of this locust warning organization. That is always a contingency plan. Malathion is used largely to control desert locust in India. A buffer of minimum 5,000 liters of malathion is always available at these centers, and all locust circle office are self-sufficient in terms of manpower, vehicle, control equipments, and personal and protective equipment. LWO, comprising of all field units, undertake regular survey for having preventive control strategy, particularly in the scheduled desert area of Rajasthan and Gujarat. And whenever there's a economic threshold level is crossed, then this is 5 to 6 hopper per bush. So this is how the economic threshold level is judged. Constant was on the green area is also there. Surveys are taken in desert area with green vegetation and about 2 weeks after receiving the rain. These surveys are done regularly during the entire year, but mostly this is during May to November, which coincides with the rainy season in this area. And activity is considered at its peak due to congenial breeding condition during this period. During this time, the frequency of survey is doubled from May to November as compared to December to April. In India, locust normally arrives during the period of July to October, but they have shown their presence now in November, December, and even in January also. And there was a restriction to growing rabi crops, which is grown in winter season, along with the western Rajasthan and part of the northern Gujarat during December to January. And this is probably because of the heavy rains caused by a spate of cyclones in the Indian Ocean created ideal condition for the locust to breed. The climate change may have played a role in this inclusion. Locust breeding is directly tied to soil moisture and food availability. So rain patterns have a strong influence on locust population, and we have seen differential in rain pattern this time, and this is why the storm is there during this period also. FAO has predicted that the invasion will be there during late June to July, and this will migrate from Horn of Africa across Indian Ocean to the desert area along both sides of India-Pakistan border. Prior to that, the locust from spring breeding area of southwest Pakistan and southern Iran would arrive in Rajasthan and Gujarat during May-June. They would then breed with the onset of southwest monsoon rains and continue doing so through Kharif crop season, that is June to October 2020. Starting from the Horn of Africa and joined by desert locusts from breeding grounds en route, one locust stream can travel over a land corridor passing over Yemen, Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and India, impacting farmland in Punjab. This is our province. Punjab is in Pakistan also. Farmlands in Punjab, Haryana, and Indo-Gangetic Plain. But another stream passing over the Indian Ocean can directly attack farms in peninsular India and then head towards Bangladesh. This is the new phenomena because till now the locust was confined to our scheduled desert area, which is Rajasthan, Gujarat and Haryana, but now this time we are seeing locust in beyond scheduled area. So when unusual storms were there, they caused very high damage and the crop during that time was cumin, mustard and chilies in January month. And 20 minutes were enough to destroy nearly all of it. Only small bushes under a large tree were spared because locusts would not eat in the shed. I am narrating one farmer's story. He said, "This is the first time we have experienced this type of locust attack. As a child, I have heard stories of devastating farms, but until now, if I have never witnessed one personally, sometimes I think I should commit suicide. The disaster has doomed everything. Not only me, but also my family are feeling that." This is one farmer, Umesh Singh, which is very close to Jaisalmer, a bordering area, India, Pakistan. Now, as we know that the adult can travel up to 150 kilometers per day. So the new invasion has appeared 1 month in advance of the prediction of FAO in the month of May itself. And it has covered the area beyond scheduled area and extended eastward to several other districts of different states of the country. This year's incidence will probably be larger than the last major one in 1993, which has been mentioned by our chairman in his opening remark also. At present, most fields are lying.
Mr. Ganesh, could you take 1 more minute, please? You reached your 10 minutes. Could you summarize in the last minute? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So at the present moment, there is a summer fallow for the most of the area, but sugarcane, cotton, and other jaid crops like mung, beans, etc., and vegetables and fruit crops, they are likely to suffer. Somebody was asking how to measure the swarm population. 1 square kilometer area can accommodate 40 to 80 million of these insects, and a female desert lays 60 to 80 eggs thrice during its roughly 90 days life cycle, making the growth of their swarm exponential. So the focus is now to stop outbreak prior to arrival of monsoon rainfall in June, July, when locusts will mature and breed. So this is the area now, the new area, the locust is now seen in non-scheduled area of Rajasthan, Gujarat, Haryana, Punjab, Maharashtra, Telangana, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, and Uttar Pradesh. And as if predicted that it can go up to Bangladesh. So already it has come to Uttar Pradesh, and Uttar Pradesh is bordering Nepal also. So Nepal have to be alert and be in collaborative mode with India to know the movement.
Mr. Ganesh, I'm afraid we may have to end here. And
just some pictures, and I'm just saying my last slide. So,
okay.
A relatively small can contain 4 million locusts, and this can feed and destroy the livelihood of farming community and also create food security problem. Locusts can travel large distance in a short period, so better coordination will be needed amongst countries involved. A strong institutional mechanism with a multilateral tie-up needs to be developed amongst the countries of the locust region. Climate change is impacting locust invasion cycle and probably also creating new breeding hubs. These needs to be monitored for improving forecasting. Heavy use of chemical for locust control may be a threat to environmental pollution and animal and human health. An integrated approach of locust control should be developed for effective control. Safer chemical molecules such as beta-methylene should be used over widely used malathion. So this is the conclusion, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Great presentation. I will then want to move right away. I know there's some.
Alpha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to request to our speakers, please strictly follow the time as mentioned for the presentation. It is 10 minutes only. Please. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the reminder, Shala. Right. So yes, definitely. Please stick with the time. And you know, we might have some time afterwards to share some remaining thoughts and whatnot. So it's okay. So Dr. Mohammed Mastoy, National Coordinator, Plant Protection Unit from Pakistan Agri Research Council. I'll now like to invite you to share for us with 10 minutes time your presentation. Over to you, Dr. Mohammed Mastoy. Kindly unmute your mic. Dr. Mastoy, yes, we're hearing you now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Think that's ready.
Okay, we can see your screen, but we're not hearing you. Are you speaking?
Oh, wait, I want to see my screen. Where is it?
Yeah, we are seeing your screen. You may proceed.
Okay. Is there a presentation? My presentation?
Yeah, we
can
okay.
watch her.
You can
Okay,
go ahead.
Please go ahead.
Okay, I'm starting. Okay.
Thank you.
I have to see. I'm not seeing my screen here. So where is my presentation?
No problem. Please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So first of all, I want to talk on the type of locust. There are number of locust species. More than dozen species are found around the world. So this include migratory locust, oriental migratory locust, red locust, and so many, Bombay locust, Australian plague locust, and desert locust. The desert locust, which is technically known as Schistocerca gregaria, it's like all the other locusts. These are the type of grasshoppers actually. They are belonging to order Arthroptera and family Acridiidae. When they, why we called it locust? Because when the grasshopper, they live individually, while the type locust, they live either, they show two type of behavior. They live in solitary as well as gregarious behavior. So the desert locusts love to live in deserts actually. That's why we call it desert locusts, and they breed also in deserts. This is highly migratory pest.
Okay, one second, Dr. Mastoy, we don't see your screen anymore.
So that's why I
think
also face problem of the screen.
Yeah, we started seeing it, but then someone started sharing again. And
okay, I think this one.
Okay.
Are you seeing now the screen?
It's starting to share. Yeah, it's there. It's there again.
Already.
Yeah, please continue.
Started already. So it's also a transboundary pest, as all other my colleagues mentioned, and it travels 150 kilometers in a day, and 1 square kilometer of the swarm contains 40 million of insects, which can eat 35,000 people in a day.
in solitary phase, it live in individual form, and mostly it active during the night time. It's nocturnal in habit when it's solitary, and it feeds on few plants in deserts. While when in gregarious, it live as a unit or group form, and it's active during the daytime at its polyphagous. It's large number of plants, even the crop plants also. So if you talk about life cycle of the locust, it lives for 3 months. It has 3 stages: egg, hoppers, and adults. So egg incubation period is 2 weeks, and hoppers, they feed on up to 6 weeks and then convert into adults. Adults live for 4 weeks to mature and breed or lay eggs. If we talk about why people are eating it, or why we are using it in poultry feed, because it have 62% of proteins and also have 17% of fats. So this is also a good, can be used in poultry industry. And we have tested this pilot project in one of the province in Punjab, Pakistan, Okada. So there was, and the poultry industry was involved to mobilize the farmers and catch the locusts, and they utilize in the poultry feed. There are a number of natural enemies of the locust. They are found from the deserts. So these are the microorganisms, which includes Metarhizium, Nosemia, and there are number of also insects. Stomorphina luna is a predatory fly which feed on locust egg. It often destroys up to 20% of the eggs. There are some egg parasites which are also found in the, but it's not in gregarious form. When locust is in scattered solitarious form, these Scilio species are very active. While another insect, which is a beetle, Procerus, it's also an egg predator. So wasps are also there, frequently feed on attacking desert locusts. Ants also in there. Some birds are there in deserts. They are feeding on these locusts. Some migratory birds, while the swarms come from across the countries, some migratory birds come across with the locusts, and they feed on their way. In deserts, some of the reptiles, the lizards and snakes, they are also, but not have a good impact on locust population reduction, but they are feeding. The nematodes also have found they actually not they kill the locust, but they weakens and their fecundity is reduced with the results. The most important natural enemy is the Metarhizium, which is commercially available. It kills 70% of the treated locusts within 14 to 20 days, depending upon humid area of the locust. It's environmentally safe, having no measurable impact on non-target organisms. All other biocontrol agents not important alone in reducing the locust population. So that is locust, it's not harmful if it is in solitary phase. When it acquires in gregarious phase, or it forms swarms, just like now, so it's harmful in gregarious phase. So this is actually the period where the desert locusts usually present somewhere within 16 million square kilometers. It's spread from Mauritania to India, Pakistan border, Rajasthan. And while in plague form, which is not now, but it's now upsurge stage of this locust, but in plague form, locust spread up to 32 million square kilometers, and which occupy 30% of the Earth's land. This is the actually map which shows how this disaster developed. Actually, it developed in 2018 when two major cyclones rise from Indian Ocean's Arabian Sea and hit the empty quarter of these three countries, the bordering of Yemen, Oman, and the Saudi Arabia. From here, this area was actually unattended, and pace was not controlled because no one, it was unattended, and this also remoteness area. So 3 generations, because of heavy rains, 3 generations here develops because it's exponential growth. 8,000 times of the locust multiplies here, and in the spring 2019, the swarms develop from this area. They migrate to interior of Saudi Arabia. Some swarms migrate to Yemen, and some swarms migrate to Iran. Finally, from the Iran, it's enter into Pakistan via Balochistan. After 1 generation, in 2019 spring season in Balochistan, they enter into the interior of Pakistan and India. It's the India-Pakistan border area.
Doctor, can I just share with you that you are basically out of time? Could you make a final wrap up, please? We'd appreciate it.
So in Pakistan, first time it's appear in March 2019, coastal belt of Balochistan, Gwadar, and then spread to larger areas in Balochistan. It's in coastal, in interior of Balochistan. And then in Sindh province, Nara, interior, in 31st May 2019, the pest emergence appears and then spread to many parts of Sindh and Balochistan, Punjab province. So if you talk about control operations, its total area of Pakistan is 437 or 8,000 square kilometers area, out of which 38% area is suitable for locust breeding. And from 38%, 60%, the majority of area comprises, breeding area comprises in Balochistan, while 25% in Sindh and 15% in Punjab. To tackle this upsurge of the locust, continuously increasing population, so government of Pakistan tried to make 100,000 of teams comprising on DPP, Department of Plant Protection, which is the apex body for dealing with locusts, and Agriculture Extension, Provincial Agriculture Extension Departments, and Army. They all working together to control the locusts in the field. And so far, from 14-15 months, the area we have surveyed, 235 square kilometer we have surveyed, and about 5,000 square kilometer we found infested and treated with different pesticides. It was lambda cyhalothrin in cropping zones and malathion in desert areas. So now all the provinces, 4 provinces, because it's appear in all 4 provinces, we have sufficient stock of pesticides, almost 50,000 liters with each province, and in center we have 250,000 liters of pesticides in stock. Pakistan have 3 types of threats.
Dr. Mohammed, your presentation is going really good, but I may have to cut you off.
It's last line.
Yeah.
It's last one. Pakistan is now facing 3 types of threats. One is national threat, means international local threat. The population, which is breed in Balochistan province of Pakistan, it is arriving in our deserts, the main deserts, and it started from the last week of April to first week of June. So from migration in this area, from this area, so this is our and then regional we have threat from Iran, because continuously they are all swarms spawned, and they have now started to migrate in summer breeding areas of Pakistan. So it is now threat. Crops are our crops which are seriously affecting. They are the cotton, the maize, they are standing crop at this time in June. So they are very vulnerable to this locust. So another global threat is the population coming from, expected to came from Horn of Africa, which is we are expecting it starts migrating from the last week of June up to July, last week of July. So these are the three threats, and when they breed here upon arrival, when they mature, they complete generation, again the threat starts from the local population, because they migrate from summer breeding to spring breeding areas, Iran and Palestine. So this is the threat area again in September to October from national population, or from it, and then from regional population it will migrate back to spring breeding areas from in October month, while the global population which comes late in July, they will come back from November. While another threat is the Indian population which breed in India, they also back to spring breeding areas, and this threat I think will be in December. So all I think is threat exists. So what are the current locust population? How can we control this population? It's dependent on the following three factors. One is the continuous efforts which we are already doing to survey and control of desert locusts. And the control efforts predominantly based on chemical measures, because the other measures are not successful, and the insufficient, another factor are which it favors normal monsoon rains or insufficient rains, because in last week there were longer rains which create major problem, and locust breed 2 generations here in summer breeding. Even third generation, they remain here in interior of Punjab and KPK, they breed here, and the population build up. And another factor is the movement of swarms to areas unsuitable for breeding or survival. So our continuous efforts and the support from the nature also needed to control this upsurge of the locust. So another one thing what we are, as a national effort, what we have done here, government of Pakistan initiated national emergency in February 2020. In this national emergency, we involved the Pakistan Army, and now National Locust Control Center is established, which is doing their activities daily basis. We are sharing the results, and another election action plan 2.
Dr. Mohammed, I'm afraid I might have to ask you to stick up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah?
Okay, just one
Yeah,
word.
thank you. After we could maybe come back to some of the other stuff you had to mention.
Okay,
thank you so much. So I'm going to run along quickly. And guys and ladies and gentlemen on the chat, we're going to have to take the questions afterwards, because I won't want it to run into more and more time, and then we don't get some of the speakers to share They're very educational and interesting presentations. So now I want to run right over to Dr. Shafqat Saeed, Professor and Director of the Institute's Plant Protection. So again, as a reminder for the speakers, 10 minutes. When you have 2 more minutes, I will give you a reminder to sort of wrap up. So Dr. Saeed, over to you. Thank you.
Yes,
Everyone else, remember to
thank you
mute their
very
mics.
much.
You're welcome.
Just I have to upload the presentation, then I will start.
Is it already uploaded, or do you want me to come back to you?
Yeah, everybody can see my presentation.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I will tell you about the use of insecticides and the microbial agents for the management of the locust. This is our latest research activities from January 2020 till now. We have been working in the lab and the field condition in Pakistan. So this is our team member with Naeem Iqbal and Dr. Arslan and some of our MSc students. This is our my presentation flow about. I will tell you about how we started our work. And our university, MNS University of Agriculture, Multan, situated in Pakistan, and our institute, Institute of Plant Protection, we are working especially on the cotton and the mango. In this area, we are doing research, and nowadays we are working on the locust. This slide, as some other persons already shown, here you can see that we are worried about that already we have the locust swarms. Last year, when entered in Pakistan, usually it appears in the desert area, but this time that entered into the crop area. From January 2020 till now, the locust is moving in the Punjab and feeding on the different crops. So we are worried how to manage. And they are damaging on the different crops. We are also worried, as we see in this slide, from FAO source, you can see that the locust is also entering another population that is coming from the African countries and Iran. They will enter in June 2022 in India and also in Pakistan. So we are already striving to kill the population, which is already breeding in the Punjab. Now, this is the third generation in Punjab. And another adult swarms will arrive in June 2020. So we are thinking that how to manage this population. So we have some assessment of this. We evaluated 3 scenarios. How, if there will be some damage in our crop, what type of the scenarios will be developed. We developed 3 scenarios. In the right side as a low damage scenario, and the medium damage scenario, and the high damage scenario. In the low damage scenario is that locust already attacked to in the crop area of the Punjab. Then we have 7 billion, we have loss of the crops of worth ₹7 billion. But in case this scenario is developing and we could not control, the locust and the kharif crops will be damaged, and that may reach up to $30 billion. But if another swarms from Iran and other countries are coming in June, and we could not manage, then this damage of the crops of the kharif may reach up to more than ₹70 billion. So, as looking at on these situations, our government instructed us that we have to work to manage this pest. Usually, we are using already recommended insecticides, lambda-cyhalothrin and malathion, but now we did some research and we studied that what type of the insecticides other than malathion and lambda-cyhalothrin are effective to manage these pests in the crop area, especially we worked on the crop area. So here are some insecticides like lambda-cyhalothrin, deltamethrin, malathion, amamectin benzoate, fipronil, chlorfenfire, and also we use 2 IGRs, especially for the nymphs. If we see the results, and we have also tested these insecticides on the adult also. Here I will show you the results. You can see here the nymph population. If we see here, lower side, you will see the different insecticides. We have chlorfenfire, fipronil, amamectin benzoate, malathion, and deltamethrin, and lambda-cyhalothrin. You see, within 24 hours, the chlorfenapyr gives the excellent result on the minimum dose we sprayed, that is 125 ml per 100 liter of the water. In the same way, they are equally good for the management of the adult also. If we go forward, because we were taking the data for up to 1 week, so in 48 hours, other insecticides also proved good as compared to fipronil and the chlorofenfire. Fipronil also gave the 100% mortality in the lab condition. This is the lab results, and also we have tested the insecticide in the field also. So nymph and the adults, they can be managed by applying fipronil, chlorfenapyr that can kill within 48 hours the adults and the nymph population. Whereas lambda-cyhalothrin and the deltamethrin or the malathion, they are not as good as the fipronil and the chlorfenapyr for the adult population. Here, the data is after 72 hours, then we find that the adults and the nymphs are being killed by the deltamethrin and the lambda-cyhalothrin also. Here, the same is the result for the 96 hours. So we are thinking that as we are using the insecticide in the crop area, we should be using something safe insecticide like some insect growth regulators. Then we selected 2 insect growth regulator. One is the pyriproxyfen and another is the leufenuron. Here is the result. You can see the pyriproxyfen shows the comparatively better result, more than 90% mortality of the second and the third instar larvae. We did not use it for the adults. We also tested different microbial insecticides, and we tested 10 microbes, including Metarhizium, Anispoli, Beauveria bassiana, and we, along with all other fungus, this is the first time we tested some bacteria. We have isolated 3 strains, S1, S2, and S3 from Pakistan, and we tested these strains on the nymphal and the adult stage of the locust. We found very good result that all these strains are very effective to kill the adult of the locust within 3 to 5 days, as compared to the Metarhizium anispoli that kill the insects into the 14 days. So this is a very promising result for our local produced microbial insecticide, and we can promote it in future. And here we can see that the results of the microbial insecticide we did on some laboratory conditions. This is the situation of the laboratory conditions. We are working in Multan, Pakistan, and this is our few glimpses of the in the field. We also tested these doses in the field also. Here you can see the chlorfenapyr, the lab results, and here under that graph, you will see the chlorfenapyr, fipronil, and the lambda-cyhalothrin results. They are very good. They are killing equally as we have seen in the laboratory conditions. Here are some insect growth regulators. Insect growth regulators are giving the very good results, but when we concluded our trial, at that time in the field there was a windstorm, so we could not get the data more than 72 hours because insect growth regulators, they take more time. 5 to 7 days, they give the good results.
Professor Saeed, I'll just inform you here that there's 2 more minutes left for your presentation. Thank you.
I have finished already. So these are just glimpses of the photographs and the field activity. So if anybody has some question, they can ask.
All right, so we'll definitely take the questions afterwards. Folks, you can write your question in the chat so that you don't forget it. And if you have a question directed specifically to one of the speakers, you could also mention their name and say this question is for this speaker, so we could sort them out easily after. I will now thank you very much, Professor Saeed, for sticking to the time and a great presentation. I will now call on Muhammad Zayuddin, President of the Agri-Watch Society of Pakistan, to bring forth his presentation. If you want to share your presentation, you could share your screen right away and begin as soon as possible. Thank you very much. Welcome, Mr. Muhammad Zayuddin. Is Mr. Zayuddin here with us?
I guess he will join later, I think.
Okay, I know he had some connection problem before.
That's right.
So if he's here, we will skip him and allow for our next presenter to join. So next up on my agenda, we have Patrick Komulijira. Sorry for the pronunciation. I might have missed it. Could you pronounce it better when you start speaking? Agricultural Inspector, Pest and Disease Control, Ministry of Agriculture. I didn't get what country you're from, so you could kindly introduce yourself. Mr. Patrick, are you with us?
Patrick is raising hand, but I don't know, he's not able to connect.
Okay, let's see. Can we help him out there quickly?
Patrick, I'd just like to suggest, can you please, you can just go out of the room and come back again and join with the audio. I think you had not joined with the audio. That's why you're having some audio problems.
Right, so you think he's hearing us? He might be hearing us?
Yes, he has signed in without audio, I think, while entering the chat room.
And while Patrick is sorting that out, in the interest of time, I think let me proceed to the other speaker. So when after this, Patrick had come back in when he sorted out his audio. So then let me proceed to Professor Dr. Shashi Vemuri, the Advisor and General Secretary of the FAST Foundation for Agriculturally Sustainable Transformations. Professor Shashi, are you with us?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Are you hearing me?
We are hearing you loud and clear, yes.
Okay, I'll just start my presentation. I'm afraid because many of the speakers already covered up many of the things. So I'll quickly go. The moderator can give me a chance to quickly go through. That would be better. Are you getting my slides?
We don't see your slides as yet, but I think we see your screen, we see your Zoom, but we don't see your slide. Maybe get to your screen, get to your page with the slides, your presentation.
Now is it coming?
Yeah, and maybe you could just enlarge it, because it's very small right now.
Yeah. There's some issue, but meanwhile, I'll quickly start speaking. Something is happening here. Shall I go to new share or be here?
No, I think you could just go to the bottom where it says share slide full screen. To the bottom where it says notes. And then you see some different shapes. Are you going to go to take your mouse to the bottom where it says notes?
Yeah, for share. Yeah.
You see notes?
No, notes I'm not getting, but
I'm seeing
getting, yeah, more. Or if you're
we could see it as it is, or it's just a bit small. So I'm saying, yeah, right there. Click there.
Yeah,
it should be a full
I
screen
think
there.
instead of slideshow, I think I'll go like this. Yeah. So then.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay.
I'll quickly go through. You just give me a chance because I will not elaborate. Already Shrotriya and Mohammed elaborated about Indian scenario and Pak scenario. Quickly, I'll go through. I'm working now. I was a former professor working now. So this is the scenario I just want to touch. By March, the Indian government sounded that there is a problem which is coming up from the Kenya, Ethiopia, Somalia situation. Normally in India, we have from July to October. But this time, because of the rains already touched by people, they started coming very early by December itself. And Jan we had in Punjab, and then in Rajasthan and Gujarat, the situation was very, very bad. And you can see we don't want that to go to the plague situation because we have been finding it from the December situation scenario that this problem is coming up. Then what, because of the rains in 2018 in Oman, Africa, and the large population multiplied. So this also, I think with your permission, I'll skip these slides. I think that's better. This is what we have seen now. This pest has already entered India in a very bad situation. As Shrotriya already mentioned in his second presentation from India, they moved from Gujarat, from Pakistan, they moved to Gujarat to your Rajasthan area, now Madhya Pradesh, few days back. And after that, they moved to central India, Maharashtra, and then going towards the eastern side. Unfortunately, last 2-3 days, we had thunder rains and heavy downpour. The population is moving towards Bihar. That's what I heard today morning. And then the alerts which we are getting regularly from the government also shows that that is moving towards Bihar, and the conditions are there unfavorable. Again, they may come back to Madhya Pradesh and move back to Rajasthan. This is the problem which we are likely to face couple of days, because we expected this in the down south area, as already told by a couple of people. But in down south, luckily because of the thunderstorms 2 days back, this has never moved into south, because we never heard about the situation coming into it. And then the second problem is, as already elaborated by few people, via Indian Ocean, entering into India, the South Asia and peninsular India. If that comes, it becomes a big major problem. After Punjab, we can see here on the slide that they have come into the central part of India, that is near New Delhi, the Uttar Pradesh and all. Then they move down, and from here you can see the problem is 16 districts to 22 districts in Madhya Pradesh were attacked, and they moved to Maharashtra by 22nd of May. And then this is where I stay, Hyderabad, India. This is the problem. They didn't move here. They went back to Chhattisgarh. So we are happy that they are not coming this side. But our main problem is only desert locusts, which we have seen. Of course, the Bombay locusts are long back in 1927. But now, for last few days, there is a big panic and people are saying that some new locusts have come, etc. But we checked up. That is a coffee locust, only seen in the South India. You can see here on the screen, the Olerus miliaris. This is the problem which is happening in Nilgiris or in the coffee belt or the down south, including the Kanyakumari area and Kerala areas. These are the situations I just wanted to touch up. I don't want to go about the crops damage already, because the Shrotriya has mentioned about 1.7 lakh hectares, etc. So what should be done now? So this is the, I'll quickly go into my, if you see here on this slide, we never had this problem earlier. But last in 2005 and 2019 on corn, in 10,000 hectares was devastated just by these grasshoppers, which are seeing these are the Calotropis grasshopper, not the desert locusts, etc. Then you can see in the next slide also. This is how the crops and totally eaten away. There was nothing left on the crop. Yeah, you can see here. This is a sort of devastation they did it almost that is almost 4,000 hectares. And last year in 2019 again, they disappeared for 15 years. And then they came back after 15 years into the same pockets. So what may be the reason for that? We were just wondering. Yeah, this is the problem. If it is going to hit South Asia from Indian Ocean side, because already we are struggling with the COVID, and then a lot of population coming from the western part of India and then coming to already into the central part of India. And if it is coming from the Indian Ocean, as explained by a few people, what will be the scenario in India? How people are going to face that situation is to be seen, because India, many of the states, they were not prepared for this except for the Gujarat and Punjab areas, but then they have moved to the Haryana state, Uttar Pradesh state, where sugarcane is a major problem. Yeah. Okay, no problem. I'll go ahead. I'll just keep talking. This already I mentioned. See, people talked about this, how the scenario is coming. This also I'm not coming from Ethiopia and all. I'll skip because my previous speakers didn't allow me the chance. This is what we have seen now in some parts of Madhya Pradesh. And then this is the problem which we are likely to face now again by the Indian Ocean side. And then this week, we have done lots of programs creating awareness to the people because previous speakers spoke about the pesticide. And yesterday with our Government of India Director General and the Ministry of Agriculture, we had the discussion. Lots of things have come up about the drones because the drones are not allowed. The COVID problem and the climate change, which mentioned already, has created a scenario. And Madhya Pradesh it has touched, which was never there in Madhya Pradesh earlier. And then how it is going to hit the food security? COVID plus the grass, the locust. This is the problem. We are very much scared. And then I think I'll quickly go to the TV programs which I've done. I will not show them, but then I can just talk about that. And then yesterday, our government I think the PowerPoint is not moving. Our government had lots of discussions how drones should be used because the aviation clearance has to be there and they are giving only once per a day. If you are asking for permission, again you need to seek permission. And then drones utilization they are importing from UK. And then how to use the nozzles, what is the quantum of pesticide to be used through the ULVs, the ULV pesticide through the drones, and what is the battery backup of the drones. These are the problems which we have been speaking for last 2 days and the discussions. And then understand that there's a, I think I'll skip all. I can go to, yeah. This is what we had live discussions to create a lot of awareness to people. That's what's going on, how to sort, because we never experienced this. We thought we should educate farmers, educate the extension personnel, what sort of steps should be taken because of the pesticides, the DDVP, that is the dichlorovac is already banned, acipate, then malathion, all these things in India they are banned, but malathion 96% ULB can be used. Now the government says that temporarily will lift the ban, and also see that the chlorantraniliprole and acipate, and these are the pesticides also may be advocated to the people so that immediately our task is to control the pest rather than waiting and do research and all. This is a sort of the things which are there. And then you can see in the next slide, I was speaking on different channels. So there are videos, but I will upload this already, this video to Shal later on. So this drum beating, fires in the field, and then applying DDVP mixed with the soil, and then putting in the field to prevent the spread of them when they are landing. But then when you see the scenario of almost 80 million coming up, and then in Africa and all, they are sounding warning bells that it may multiply by 20 times to 300 times. I'm afraid that this sort of thing may not help, even the pesticides. And then we are talking, I think later on when the question session comes, I will discuss about the points raised by people regarding the poultry and fish feed. I wanted to talk about it, but then since already touched by a couple of people, I will go into that. So how it should be done? The government already started making meetings from March, and then again in April we had high-level meetings, locust control officers, and the latest on May 21st, I think even the World Bank released $500 million US for controlling the locust scenario in the world. So taking all these things, our governments also are trying to do their best. This is how they're trying to import the drones now, and then because the drones, the problem already I touched, the how to use the efficiency of drones, and then the pesticide residues, because you're going to spray on the crops. Now the crops in the central part of India, we have sugarcane there slightly coming up, the mango orchards, the banana in certain parts of area, and then you have the oranges and the vegetables in highest, because in summer they go for vegetables in India. If we are spraying all these outdated chemicals, what will be the scenario of the pesticide residues? That's what we are worried. And many people have been talking about this, but how pesticide residues should be contained in case you are going for this, whether environmental problems will be there if you are going for the spraying with aerial spraying. This sort of situation should be limited, because earlier we have never had a problem. Now since it arose, we have to think of what are the directions, what are the steps should be taken. I'm not going into the IPM methods, etc., because the best chemicals already, my previous speaker spoke about the pesticides, what should be done. The metarhizium, I understand in Africa it has done wonders. It has to be multiplied in a big way and given. And also the green moss, it's called, I talked about the coffee water. And then in Madhya Pradesh, I understand the moong bean, 8,000 crores is likely to be affected if the swarm is coming back from the Bihar or the eastern part of India to central India once again. These are the things. And Ullas,
Professor, could you make a final wrap up, please?
Yeah, I'm just winding up. That's why I'm not going into the chemical control, etc. The green mussel, that is the metarhizium anoceplia, and then allulochemicals, aggregating chemicals, so that you can trap them, and then the captures. Initially, one gentleman spoke about this, how to capture them, how to utilize for food or feed. These are the points which have been deliberating, and I think we should look into this rather than going for the pesticides, aerial spraying, etc. I think we have to do that, because you're not going to control the whole thing even with the pesticide. How best? And today I heard from some country that the mineral oils and linseed oil mixed with the bicarbonate. This is a point for deliberation. I just wanted to tell in the end how the mineral oils, linseed oil, are going to affect or control these locusts when they are in such a huge thing. Also the topsoil and the mud slurry, whether it is going to be effective, I need a discussion, because somebody raised about it, and I don't think, because it only can remove the acidification or breathlessness it may cause, but the insect will not eat the mud or whatever it is. So these are few points I just wanted to make, and maybe I just wind it up. I'm not going into the management methods, because already people talked about it. I also told. So how best we should go ahead using the biopesticides or the oils which I mentioned, but again mineral oils if you are using, what will be the environmental problem? So these are the few points which I posed in my presentation also. I am afraid because of the first speaker from India, he has taken away all my points which are, and thank you very much to all for giving me this opportunity to speak. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor. So I want to then run and see if Patrick may be available now, and did he get back in the room successfully?
And I'll upload all my PowerPoint, so later on people can share. Shad or Ashik. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So is Patrick with us? If Patrick isn't immediately with us, then I would want to, let me see, is Patrick with us? Doesn't seem that way. So we'll give Patrick some more time again. And let's run over to Dr. Falak Naz, Advisor and Director General of the Department of Plant Protection, Ministry of National Food Security and Research, Pakistan. Dr. Naz, can you?
Alpha, panel doctor. Alpha, Dr.
Yeah.
Falaknas will join us in 10 minutes. He is in cabinet meeting.
Okay. So then we don't have, is Patrick with us?
Hi, Patrick. Can you please see the text of Zoom? I have guided you. I can help you the audio. Just respond my message. Alpha, I think we can take some questions now because.
Okay. Yeah. I was just about to say that. I agree. Yeah. So let's take a few questions now while we have some of the speakers joining us shortly. As soon as the next available speaker comes on, we will go right to the speakers because we only have less than 20 minutes, 25 minutes left, right? So I see Usama Rashid hand is up. Do you still have that question for us, Usama Rashid? We could quickly ask the question and make the question very brief, direct the question to a particular speaker. Please don't try to ask a question and answer it. Let's just get the question and we would proceed quickly.
Sir, I have the question that the bacteria mentioned in the treatments of the experiment by Mansua. Tell me the bacteria name. Can we get the bacteria name?
Yeah, still we are at the research process, and we are trying to for the its identification, and we will disclose it soon because this is in research process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Professor Shashi, you wanna ask? You raise your hand. You wanna respond? Yeah.
Yeah. What are the standard operating procedures for the drones? What should be the wind speed and weather conditions to have a very good control? These are things I just wanted to ask. And also about the fish feed. Initially, one sir asked, talked about, our next speaker spoke about the fish feed, poultry feed. There will be issue of the pesticide residues. How can you just use them as for a feed for human being as used in Kenya or Australia? Hunter maybe was talking about it. He can throw a light about whether you can use it as a feed because pesticide residues are because of the helicopter spraying or aerial spraying, the chances of water bodies getting damaged, everything is there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So anyone have any other? You can raise your hand. In the meanwhile, I'm gonna go to the chats. I see there's lots of discussions happening there. There's a question.
Raji.
Okay, sorry, Khadija, go ahead.
Mr. Sri Raji raised the hands. I think he raised them. Can you put your query?
Yeah, this is Gangadhar. Actually, somehow its name is a bit shortened. My question is direct. Is there any crop preference by the locust which can directly attack? Like now we have so much of crops covering like corn, cotton, paddy, so many things. Is there any crop preference by the locust? First question. And how do we estimate if once the locust is damaged, how do we estimate the crop losses? Thank you.
And maybe if I can add into it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Is the damage recoverable? Because most of the farmers, they are really worried about if the damage has already occurred, can it be recovered? Should we, for example, in Pakistan, where I'm sitting now in South Punjab, the cotton sowing has been done. So if it has been damaged, would it regrow, or they should go for re-sowing?
I can, if you would like, I will reply this question because the cotton, I am sitting in the cotton area. The cotton in small scale damaged will not recover. They will sow it again. But if it becomes mature more than 1 or 2 months, then the damage may be recovered.
Sir, I want to ask, is there any crop resistant to locust attack?
There is preference.
Okay, so let me allow for some of the answers to come in one at a time, so we would be able to benefit together. Professor Shashi, you want to comment?
Yeah, Siraj was asking about which crop is, he prefers everything, any greenery available. If it is moving at that sort of 80 million per square kilometer, you can't name a crop. And then rightly he said, initially if cotton is there, it's all gone. Now I was telling about moonbeam in Madhya Pradesh, completely devastated. We have seen, I have shown the corn crop. When crop was getting ready for harvest, it has totally eaten away all the crops in corn. So one overnight. So that sort of situation. So you can't say that this crop may be affected. Maybe calotropis and these sort of things, and the calotropis only few are them. But I'm just telling about the coffee locust. It is eating away all the crops in South India. Though it is supposed to be, they said initially coffee, but now if you see, it's not a locust of these Histosarca type, but a coffee locust is a big menace in South now for last 2-3 days. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
We have Dr. Mohammed and Abdul Qayyum online. Please put your query. They have been raising hands for quite a long time. Dr. Mohammed and Abdul Qayyum.
Can you hearing me?
Yeah, Abdul, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, okay. I'm Abdul Qayyum from Bangladesh. I am assistant professor of Shere Bangla Agriculture University, Dhaka. Now, last 2 weeks, our country people is also hear the news. Locust is on the way to Bangladesh. So, it's now in the hot topics in our newspaper, in our television, everything, because our country is totally depends on agriculture. Although there is no crops in the field, but in June, July, there will be rice crops in our field, and in next November, December is Rabi crops, winter vegetables and crops. So I want to ask to the expert from Pakistan, India, and other country, what's the possibilities of locust infestation to Bangladesh in next June, July, or next November, December? What's the possibilities of the locust attack in our country?
I think it will be most probably in June because it will attack in June 22 in Indian border and near to you. There might be chances in June, July.
Yes, we are going to have rains by June
in
15th.
June, July in our country is.
Yeah, since
June,
you asked me,
July,
yeah, once June 15th, we are expecting rains in India, in the south. That is already Orissa and other places which are nearer to Bangladesh. It is already there. The pest has moved that side. Luckily, it is moving back to central India. If there rains now, if there is egg laying and our crops are finished, like the one which is likely to come from the peninsular India or South India or South Asia, then Bangladesh may have problem. We hope that that sort of scenario may not arise, but likely to face. So you be prepared. All the deliberations given by senior people and all, you can keep in mind and then plan for that. Thank you.
Okay, guys, let me just check back in to see if any of our speakers arrived, because we are really winding time. Did Patrick join us? Did he join us, Abhishek? Is his audio good now?
Let me confirm. I was looking the Q&A session. I didn't notice the participants. Just wait a few minutes.
Patrick, if you're there, can you come on, please? So we have like maybe 15 minutes to go.
Yes, I'm Dr. Faragnaz from Pakistan. I joined just now.
Okay, thank you so much. You can definitely share your screen and proceed. And I'm sorry to rush, but kindly make it 10 minutes so we could maybe get a few more questions at the end.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we are hearing you. We see your screen, but not your presentation as yet. We see the Zoom. We don't see
Okay.
the presentation.
It is difficult for me to upload my presentation at the moment.
That's fine. Do you wanna share? You wanna just talk?
Okay, I would like to apprise the forum about the locust activities from Pakistan side. I think some of our colleagues from Pakistan is also participating in this forum. And first of all, I would like to apologize being late due to some other engagement in the parliament. But thanks God that we got a chance to with you in this forum now. Actually, Pakistan, you know, is a double locust breeding country. We have both the spring and the summer breeding zones in Pakistan. We received first time the locust in March 2019 in our spring breeding areas of Balochistan. And being the focal organization, my department of plant protection, has responded to the first invasion of locust in Pakistan. And since then we are involved in the fighting the or war against locust. In 2019, we were successful to completely safeguard our agriculture and curtail the locust in the desert areas. During 2019, we surveyed more than 900,000 hectare area, and similarly, we conducted spray over 300,000 hectares with the help of our ground vehicles and our aircrafts. We also been supported by our agriculture provincial departments and some our multinational companies involved in the pesticide business. When we judge that the locust is becoming serious in the coming 2020, we developed and evolved a national action plan in December 2019, and we presented it to our Prime Minister, and he was very kind to approve that. And in response, we have received a good amount of funding from the federal government. And according to that national action plan, we have to establish 60 teams in the different prune areas of Balochistan. And that was, we started in February 2020. And after that, from February 2020 up to now, in the spring breeding areas, we treated an area of 470,000 hectares with the collaboration of our provincial partners and also with the help of our Pakistan Army, because the terrain is very difficult and they are very far-flung areas. The communication is very difficult in that area, but we involved in that. We received a setback in December 2020 when we received from the Pak-Indian border huge swarms, a series of huge swarms in December 2020, and it came to the first to the Cholistan of Punjab, And at that time, the environmental conditions were not favorable that it may migrate back to the spring breeding areas of Balochistan and Iran. And it migrated and it shifted to our green belt of Punjab, and especially to the Tal area, which is comprised of our Bakkar, Laya, Khushab, and many areas. And at the same time, it also shifted to the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa after a long, long time. And during the spring season, we were involved both in our western border in Balochistan and similarly in the Punjab and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, where it occurred breeding in a large number, and we spent a lot of pesticides, a lot of human resources over that, and we are still busy to control the locust in our cropping areas. But now, from now onwards, it is migrating towards the desert areas, and maximum of those locusts has been controlled. But we still have the breeding population in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in the some 7 districts, and we are trying to suppress and not to allow it to become flyer, and it may again come to the central areas of Punjab and then to the deserts. But this is the threat is still existing there. Now we have revised our national action plan. We have devised 1,100 teams at each districts and along with the deserts areas to respond to the locust invasions. Now we are revising our national action plan because the prone areas is expanding from 300,000 hectares to 450,000 hectares, and now we are going to acquire more spray equipments, more desert-worthy vehicles, and also we are going to purchase aircrafts, new aircrafts. I would like just to inform that during the early spring season in January, we faced an aircraft crash incident where we lost our pilot and one engineer during this anti-locust operation. And now we are reorganizing our aerial efforts, and now we have equipped our helicopters from the Army Aviations. We imported the ULV kits for them. We plug it, and now it is in action. It can be used in the coming summer season in the desert areas of Sindh and Punjab. Similarly, we also acquired a Piper aircraft from Turkey on rent, and we have also made airworthy our 3 Beaver aircrafts. We also have hired 3 more pilots to become able that we may use all our aerial efforts. So we are increasing our anti-locust equipments, but we are facing problems while getting the micron sprayers from ULV sprayers because it is not available at the moment with the relevant company in UK, and we are trying hard to get it soon so that we can increase our ground teams numbers. So this is a little bit overview of the locust preparations. Now at the moment we have locust migrating from the Balochistan deserts towards the Sindh Pak Indian borders, and we also have some growing populations in the upper Balochistan, where there is a chance that it will remain during this summer season because the climatic condition is favorable for them, and it is breeding now there. So there is a very little chance that it may migrate towards Sindh. Similarly, most of the locust has been shifting from the plain areas of the Punjab toward the Cholistans. So this is some information from the.
Hi, Dr. Naz. Yeah, you broke up at the end there. Did you end?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you very much for coming in. And I know, you may have been very, very busy. Thank you for joining us and sharing your insights. Really appreciate it. I now want to invite our last speaker, Dr. Muhammad Zayuddin, to give us a brief insights on some of your thoughts. We won't have a lot of time to do an entire 10-minute presentation because we still have the closing and the wrap-up. So, Dr. Zayuddin, would you kindly give us a quick few words, please? Thank you.
Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, within a few minutes, I cannot explain you because I will give you some bitter truth, which may not be good for the government. Because at the moment, I am President Agri-Vast Society of Pakistan, and I have served 37 years in the Department of Plant Protection, and I have fought 4 locust invasions during my service. In 1978, when my locust invaded Pakistan, we fought with Pakistan. At that very time, we had 12 aircraft. At the moment, Department of Plant Protection had only 2 aircraft. So I had given a forecast that it will be difficult for DPP to control if country is invaded. Actually, last year in summer breeding, spring breeding zone of Balochistan, they failed to control. So the entire population almost migrated to summer breeding zone. Here again, there was no proper survey, no control, and they were expecting that this will migrate. In October, the population will migrate to Iran and somewhere else. But it continued. It completed 2 generations here. So some population migrated, but majority remain here. So this year we are facing 2 type of problem. We have lot of endemic locust population in Sindh, Balochistan, not Balochistan, but in Punjab and Sindh. Thousands of acres have been invested and damaged. So apparently it looks that we will control locust, but with the present arrangement is not enough based upon my 37 years of experience in the Department of Plant Protection. So I'm apprehending very full-blown catastrophe in the country. And I will suggest that there should be involvement of local population, because in 2029, last year, I had cleared with my growers, I had arranged with boom sprayer 80 square kilometer. I had saved the oil seed cultivation. We had formed a team of our own with tractor mounted sprayer, with motorbike, with mobiles. We were in the area, so we were not depending upon the government, but we had sprayed, we had kept area clean. In the evening, swamps were sprayed wherever it was with the help of our mobile team. We sent in the night the boom sprayer before sunrise. Maximum by 8 o'clock, we had to spray the settled swarm. So in this way, without public participation, certainly I have suggested the federal Minister of Agriculture that you announce some incentive for the growers. incentive means purchase dead locust from the growers, because control involve vehicles, pesticide, and so many payment to the man employed. So in nutshell, I can say that presently the locust situation is very grave. We are expecting more swarms in next month from Iran. The present population, as per National Disaster Management, about more than 60 districts in Pakistan is under infestation. 13 Balochistan, Punjab, Khyber. But with this arrangement, I don't think this is enough. We have to arrange more. Otherwise, we are going to face full-blown catastrophe and food security. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much for your quick insights. I know it was very short, and but we're really happy to have had you share quickly, right? So dear speakers, you would see a screen, a slide up there now to send us your conclusions, your statement and suggestions via the email below, so we could share on social media. So folks who missed it, they could get the core things that came out of today's event, right? So we are about, time has really come to an end. So I will allow Abhishek or Charlotte to share some final closing if there's any from them. For me, that's it for my task today. Thank you so very much to all you beautiful folks for joining. I'm sure it was really, really, really insightful. I learned a lot. So over to Abhishek, over to Shahla now. Thank you.
Thank you, Alpha, for also for great hosting. And I also learned many things about locust management and invasion. It was really informative for me also. And Alpha, I love your background. It was really cool. We have got some few queries. I've got flood of queries in the chat box. Unfortunately, we are out of the time. I'll share that queries to Shala, and she will send the suggestions to you. Over to you, Shala.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, we are here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much to all of you for joining us here. And it was really, really a good and very informative discussion. And I would like to request you all, not only speakers, but all of our participants can send me their suggestions and valuable statements. So we will share it on our website and on our media network. And again, especially thank you to all our distinguished speakers, especially our chief guest speaker of Professor Dr. Manzoor Hussain Somro. Please, thank you so much. Thanks a lot for giving us ideas and guiding us during this webinar. Thanks a lot. Have a safe life.
Okay, so that brings us to the
all
end.
very much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We could say our goodbyes now, or good night.
Alpha, seriously, I like your background.
Thank
you, all of you.
Agreement.
Thank you.
Okay, bye, guys.
Sir, how can we get certificates?
Yes.
What would you do with certificates?
You can email. You can send an email to the sarc.pac@gmail.com with the subject certificate locust event, requesting the certificates. It's in the group chat as well.
Okay, sir.
Shall I upload my PowerPoint because I couldn't fully go through to your website?
Yes,
Shala, can you answer about the PowerPoints?
Thank you to all for nice information and nice meeting.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.